The college basketball experience. Top returning players in college hoops for the 2024-25 season edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8 challenge. Use that promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks over at Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. And welcome, everybody, to the college basketball experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Thursday, June the 27th, the NBA draft is in the books. No, I'm not here to give out draft grades. I don't do that because I think that's one of the dumbest things ever when we give out grades for players that we haven't seen play in their systems, where they're going to fit, whether they're even going to be on the roster. They got to play summer league, training camp. But yeah, we did cover the draft from a college basketball standpoint. Go check out all our draft breakdowns. Guys that we watch every single game this season. That's what we do on the college basketball experience. But hey, I am Moneyline Mac, aka the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. Also known as Mac Tonight on the college basketball experience. And I'm not going to lie, I did not have this episode planned a couple hours ago. I was thinking about it's like, hey, we got to do a show after the draft. What are we going to talk about? And it started hitting me. We should talk about some of the players coming back next year that can make the jump. We could talk about the guys that will be the Reed Shepard, the Stephon Castle, the Donovan Clingan, Rob Dillingham, the Zach Eady's, the guys that could make the next step next year. Because with NIL, the transfer portal, a lot of talent is retained. A lot's coming back. Guys that would not have ever stayed in college basketball are coming back to stay in college basketball. Who's going to be the next Dalton Connect? Jump from a Northern Colorado to a Power 5. Parlay him into, what did he end up going? 16th, 17th of the draft. He should have been a top 10 pick. But yeah, a lot of talented guys, a lot of guys that probably should have stayed in school. I'm not going to name any names, but guys that would have made a couple $100,000, maybe $1 million, or hell, maybe even $2 million if they came back to college basketball. But that's in the past. We can only talk about the guys that have already announced that they are coming back, and it's going to be another loaded college basketball season. Real quick, and I'll break down on the other side how I broke down my list. And by the way, it's a very controversial list, so please give me your feedback after the episode, during the episode, in the chat. But first, let's talk about the Sports Gambling Podcast as they've started out their top 10 fantasy football preview series. Quarterbacks, tight ends, episodes are already there. Get on over there. Never too early to start talking about the National Football League. All righty. We are back on the college basketball experience. And yeah, watching the second round of the draft today, which, by the way, the coverage was god-awful, but that's another topic for another day. And I just started thinking about the different guys that were coming back and the amount of talent that's still retained in college basketball with the NIL and portal. I'm on record. I'm not a big fan of paying for guys, kind of basically legalized cheating in a way. It is what it is. I've accepted it. But the positive is I think it's spread out the talent more compared to what it was in the past where the Blue Bloods loaded up on more talent. Guys, please throw some ideas in the chat in terms of who you think is a top 50 player, top 10 player in college basketball next year at their position. Maybe I missed a guy because I'm telling you, when I started breaking down who's coming back, I'm like, I can't possibly leave this guy off the list. And then I'm like, well, shit, I got 11 guys for 10 spots. I went top 10 floor generals, point guards, whatever you want to identify them, top 10 scoring guards, wings, top 10 glue guys, forwards, 3-4 guys. And then I went to top 10 centers. So 40 guys in total. Maybe hell at the end of the show, I'll even just do a top 10 utility guys just because there's like I said, man, there's so many good players in this game right now. And when there's 350 teams, getting it down to 40 players is not an easy task. So with further ado, I will start. Should we start with the bigs or should we start with the point guards? I'll start with the bigs and we'll go backwards. We'll go 10 to 1 here. At number 10, my top 10 center, big man coming back is Juwan Roberts from Houston, lefty. He was awesome last year for the Cougs. They won the Big 12 title game. Really was a big part of their success of why they were able to come into the Big 12 and win the league year number 1. Next up, and this guy made the jump and he followed his coach. At number 9, I got Great Osabar. $2 million man, Great Osabar. So Mountain West Player of the Year. He makes the jump to Washington from Utah State. He started his career at Montana State with his coach, Danny Sprinkle. Lefty as well, kind of like Roberts. And I think he's going to fit in perfectly right at Washington. He knows his coach and extremely, extremely productive last year. A little bit of growing pains for them, I think, headed into the Big Ten. But Osabar, a top 10 big for me, headed into next year. At number 8, and he was a former Tennessee Volunteer. He's going over to the SEC rival now in Fayetteville with John Calipari. Jonas Adu is at number 8 for me with the big men. Rim protector, veteran, been on winning teams at Tennessee. We talked about they've been to the second weekend back-to-back years. Big part of the reason why him anchoring down the back end of that defense. Cal needed a guy like this because last year defensively, Kentucky was awful. And I think Adu will be a big piece of why Calipari can turn around in just 1 year. At number 7, this guy he went to the Final Four a couple years ago with his coach. He followed his coach to Michigan, so you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Vlad Golden, rim protector. Offensively, still a little raw at times, but I mean, his rim protection averaging 2-3 blocks a game. FAU, I think he transitions into Michigan, the Big Ten, nicely following his coach. At number 6, I got the New Alabama big man, and going off of projection here a little bit, I think Cliff Murray is going to be a perfect fit in the NATO system with Mark Sears and those guards, pick and roll, rim runner, and obviously he's going to be the anchor of the defense. So Cliff Murray, I think he found the perfect fit system to take his level to the next game at Alabama, coming over from Rutgers, where they demand you to guard. At number 5, I got Graham Ike, and Wyoming transferred to Gonzaga last year. Extremely productive, got better and better the more and more he played in that system with Mark Few, those guards. Gonzaga was a top 10 team from about February 1st and on. A lot of due to Ike being better and better. He's going to be a top 5 big next year. I think he's awesome. Gets a lot of shit done. Gonzaga's on my, top 10, 6, 7. In my way too early, top 25. So I love Ike next year coming back to lefty for the Zags. At number 4, shout out to the chat. David talked about his Arizona Wildcats. Well, he doesn't like this one. Oumar Ballo, transfer over to the Indiana Hoosiers. Rim protector, going to rebound the basketball. He's been on winning teams ever since he's been in college basketball. Started his career at Gonzaga with Tommy Lloyd, then followed him to Arizona. Ballo is a top 5 big in college basketball. Big body, extremely, extremely productive. So that gets me to my top 3, and I kind of went back and forth on these 3 guys. At number 3, I'm going to go back to the SEC. I got Johnni Broome at number 3. Unbelievable. Just him coming back, the lefty, extremely productive at Auburn. I think he's been the perfect fit for Bruce Pearl down there. And just the way he's able to score the ball on the block and coming up from Morehead State. Big fan of this kid. He has proven that one of the big knocks coming up from Moorhead to Auburn was maybe the physicality would bother him, and he's gotten stronger and stronger, and he's been extremely effective, basically averaging a double-double. So Broome is my third best college big coming back. And number 2, let's go to Omaha. Let's go to the rim protector, the anchor, does a little bit of everything offensively for Greg McDermott. Ryan Kalkbrenner is coming back for about his 1,000th year in college basketball. Very productive. Like I said, man, their whole defensive system is orchestrated to funnel the ball to the middle so that he can protect the rim. They can take some chances on the perimeter because of how good Kalkbrenner's been. They've been to back-to-back second weekend appearances, Sweet 16, the Elite 8. Kalkbrenner's been the main reason why, with some good shooters on the outside. And number 1, and I'm not actually the biggest fan of this guy personally, but I think he's going to have a monster year next year because they've added shooting talent around him, started his career in the Big Ten, and it's going to be year number 2 in Bill Self system. I got Hunter Dickinson as the top big coming back next year. I think he's more of a college basketball player than an NBA guy. I know, not that it really matters, but I think he's gonna really thrive next year in Bill Self system because last year they were so banged up. Their depth was awful. They fixed the issues that they had to fix, and I think he's going to get some more single coverage, and they'll run some of that two-man game that they ran in the past with bigs, whether it was Aldridge. I'm trying to think who was the other big white. Oh, Withy, the Morris twins, Robinson. I mean, Kansas big after big. Joel Embiid. I mean, they've had so many goddamn bigs at Kansas. I think Dickinson, year 2 in the system, will take a big step. Big thing. He's still got to sit down and guard some ball screens, but offensively, he's as good as they come, especially in that system with Bill Self that fit, where they really do a good job of creating angles to score for their bigs. So those are my top 10 center bigs. Now, there's a couple guys that you're probably like, well, where's that guy? He might be on this next list. So let's go over to the forward/glue guys. Some guys you could even argue are 3 men. Number 10, he actually just went to Texas today. I went Arthur Kaluma. So he's went from San Diego State. Sorry, Creighton. They played San Diego State in the Elite 8. I don't know what I'm talking about. Arthur Kaluma started his career at Creighton, then went to K-State last year. Now he's going to finish up at Texas. Guy that can bounce it, mismatch at the 4 spot, can guard multiple positions. I think he's a good fit in that Rodney Terry system. So, and obviously they're familiar with him being in the Big 12 the last couple of years as they transition into the SEC. At number 9, and this guy was hurt, and I think a lot of people forgot about this guy, Zach Fremantle. Zach Fremantle was extremely productive a couple of years ago in Xavier's Sweet 16 run. Be able to score the ball, rebound it, and like I said, man, he's been a part of a winning team. He got injured last year in the offseason, missed the whole year. They'll bounce back. I've talked about Xavier at length on a big bounce back candidate for this upcoming year, and a lot of it is just due to the health of Fremantle, and then they added up in the transfer portal as well with some of the other guys. So I like the Xavier Musketeers. A lot of the reason why, because of Zach Fremantle's return. At number 8, David, you're going to like this one, baby. Trey Townsend from Oakland, now an Arizona Wildcat. Extremely productive guy, double-double. Helped pull off that upset over Kentucky, played for Greg Campy the last couple of years. Love this guy's game. He's kind of a throwback guy. He's not really a shooter. He catches that ball in the short corner at the block, finds a way to score the ball. I like Townsend. I think he's going to be good at Arizona, playing with more skilled guys around him. And, they'll always love him in the Oakland Grizzly era, but he's going to do good things for the Arizona Wildcats. All right, this is where it gets good. And this guy got banged up last year, and I think this is why Texas Tech took a little bit of a step back late. Darian Williams, athlete, active. I loved him in year number 1 of Grant McCasland. I think him and JT Toppin now in the front court can do some big things this year for the Red Raiders. One of the reasons why Hoops Peterson and I have talked at length of why Texas Tech could be a sleeper in the Big 12. Darian Williams is one of the reasons why. Live athletes, bouncy, and year number 2 of that system. At number 6, and everybody loves this guy, that is Robbie Avila over from he's coming over from why am I drawing a blank where him and his coaches came from? They lost to Drake in the final. They were at why am I drawing a blank right now on where Robbie Avila came from? Indiana State, the Sycamores. Yeah, so now he's a Billiken. Him and his old ball coach coming over to the Billikens, and I mean, everybody fell in love with this guy, pick and pop guy. We called him the Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the goggles. He was fantastic last year. He was fantastic. Big reason why they won. They lost in the NIT title game to Seton Hall. Won 30 games. They were so fun to watch. They could play their offense room in the point forward position. But yeah, sorry, Indiana State fans. I know you guys are going to grill me for having a brain fart. Loved your guys' team. Hated that basically your whole team got broken up, but that is the nature of the business. When Schwartz left to take the St. Louis job, he took Avila with him. And they're going to win right away because he has this guy coming with him. At number 5, another guy that got banged up last year, Bryce Hopkins. Bryce Hopkins started his career at Kentucky, went to Providence. Yeah, I mean, Bryce Hopkins was awesome 2 years ago with Ed Cooley. Then also last year, he was off to a great start before going down. And I thought that kind of cost Providence their NCAA tournament. So I love Bryce Hopkins. I think Bryce Hopkins will bounce back as long as he's healthy. And he's a top 5 forward, 3-4 position, glue guy, whatever. I mean, he scores, he defends, he rebounds, he does everything. That's why Friar fans love him. At number 4, need a beverage real quick. At number 4, let's go to Morgantown, and we'll go with, talked about Robbie Avila. Let's talk about Tucker DeVries, the reigning 2-time Missouri Valley champion, Missouri Valley Player of the Year, and Missouri Valley champion. He's now West Virginia Mountaineers. He follows his father, Darren DeVries, who got the West Virginia job in the early spring. Like I said, DeVries scores the ball. If you want to put a smaller guy on him, he'll post you up. If you want to put a bigger guy on, he can bounce in and get around you. He can pick a pop. He can score off the bounce, catch and shoot. The guy can do everything. So he's going to fit nicely. He's going to get the DeVries era right off to a good track. And a big reason why I expect my Mountaineers to be back in the tournament next year. So Tucker DeVries, my number 4 forward in all of the land. Number 3, and this guy just got his ass paid as well. Again, I went Norchard Omier, and Norchard Omier, he was on the Final Four team with Miami a couple years ago. Last year, a little bit of a disappointment, but bounces back. Now he's going to go down to Waco for his final year in college. Started his career at Arkansas State. Rebounds the ball. He scores it on the block. And I think he's actually been more effective bouncing the ball as of late. So he's my number 3 forward. At number 2, I was torn between these two guys. I want Coleman Hawkins. I know he's a very unpopular individual, but the guy can guard multiple positions. He can make open shots. He was a part of why Illinois was able to win the Big Ten a couple years ago. Obviously, get to a second weekend last year. Great. He's a great college basketball player. Now he goes to K-State. Jerome Tang, great personality for the Big 12. Hawkins is my number 2 forward in college basketball. And at number 1, UConn fans, you guys will like this. Hard to argue with this guy. Alex Karaban, my top forward, coming back in college basketball, coming back for a 3-peat with his coach. Main thing with Karaban, man, he's the glue guy for that run. He does everything. He makes open shots. If you got to run your offense through him with that complex offense where they run stuff through the high post, Karaban can make the pass. He I mean, he does a little bit of everything. He can defend, he rebounds, good college basketball player. So, yeah, Karaban coming back. They're going for a three-peat. And real quick, let's get paid because we got to talk about Underdog Fantasy. Pick 8 is now live. So create your entries up to 8 picks with Underdog, and they will double flex your entries. You can miss up to 2 in any way over at Underdog Fantasy. Plus, if you're already a user, listen to this. Deposit between now and UFC 303 for a 10% bonus cash. Sign up today using that promo code right above me, TCESUPN, to claim your special pick. First time deposit offer up to $250 in cash. Underdog Fantasy, you got to use the promo code for all these, TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Circa Sports Millions. Circa's back better than ever. 16 million guaranteed in prizes. Circa contests have no rake, baby. And like I said, you pick 5 games each week, ATS, or you can enter the Survivor Challenge and survive week by week. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas? Well, get on over there before the football contest is over. The weekend of August 22nd through 24th, the greatest sports book, and go hang out with Ryan, Kramer, and Sean Second the Money Green over at Circa. All righty, we are back on the college basketball experience. Like I said, we were talking. We went forwards, we went bigs. Now let's go scoring guards. Now, this is where it gets tricky because there's a lot of guards, a lot of really good guards. Some are point guards, some are shooting guards, some are scoring guards combos. We'll call these both, where they could score and create. And number 10, I got JP Pegues. He's a Furman transfer over to Auburn. I think he's going to be a nice fit, scores the ball. Big reason why Furman was able to be so successful these last couple of years with Bob Ritchie. Yeah, absolutely love the fit there with the Auburn Tigers, because one thing about Auburn is they got really, really good guards. And yeah, he's going to be the next wave there. So love Pegues going over from Furman to Auburn. Number 9, I got PJ Haggerty from Tulsa. He's going over to Memphis, so another transfer here. Score, average 20 plus. He's going to fit right into Penny Hardaway. They're going to give him the green light. He'll be able to score the ball. We'll see how he fits in that new system. I like the fit. Number 8, I got Chaz Lanier. Chaz Lanier is, I mean, we're talking about guys that could replace Dalton Connect. I'm not saying he's going to replace Dalton Connect, but coming over to Tennessee, he can score the basketball. Tennessee fans, you're going to love this guy. Tennessee is slowly starting to get more explosive offensively. So I like the fit of Lanier coming into this Tennessee program. His dad is now the head coach at Rice, former Rick Barnes assistant. So he knows Rick Barnes, familiarity with the family. Lanier, good fit for the Vols. At number 7, I got Johnny Davis. I went back and forth with him where to rank him. I think he's going to be great for Calipari at Arkansas. Veteran, played in big games at the Final Four at FAU. Breath of fresh air, new scenery. I think he's going to be great at Arkansas. And like I said, man, the production is clearly there. So I like the fit of Johnny Davis going to play for Cal in Fayetteville as his go-to scorer. At number 6, I went with LJ Cryer from the Houston Cougs. And he's proven it for 3-4 years now in the Big 12 that he's one of the premier guards. Whether it was at Baylor, now at Houston, now Jamel Shedd's out. He's going to slide right in as a primary guard. LJ Cryer is going to be an all Big 12 guy next year. So I got him as my number 6 guard in America, combo guard, scoring guard, whatever the hell we want to call this group. But big things for LJ Cryer in Houston next year. At number 5, I got Wade Taylor with the Texas A&M Aggies. A&M's got a lot coming back. A&M fans got a lot to be excited for in basketball, at least. I know they're fucking pissed off in baseball. But on the hoops front, man, Buzz Williams got his guy back, averaged 20 a game. He can score. He can go. He almost single-handedly brought him back in that Houston game in the round of 32. So he's one of the names I'm watching next year. And number 4, this is where it gets good right here, guys. Where's he at? Where's my chat at? I got Mr. Entertainment himself, Caleb Love, coming back to the Arizona Wildcats. I mean, one of the more decorated players currently in college basketball. He ended Coach K's career at North Carolina. Last year, he had a good year, great year, to be honest. Shit ending. I mean, he had a terrible game in that Sweet 16 game. But overall, a really, really good player. Can score at all three levels, makes shots, makes big shots, obviously. Not afraid to take big shots, just as Duke fans. Caleb Love, my number 4 guy coming back. Number 3, I went back and forth. I went to his roommate here. I went to RJ Davis as my number 3 guard coming back. I like RJ Davis a lot. He also had a terrible game at Staples Center. Him and Caleb Love must have went to the fucking club the night before. I don't know what happened where they were both so bad that night, and both had such great years, so it was a shame the way their seasons ended. But I got RJ Davis. The keys are his next year. No Armando Bacot, 5th-year guy. He's going to challenge for National Player of the Year. I got him as my number 3 scoring guard coming back. Number 2, I love this guy. So no Tyler Kolek at Marquette, but I'll tell you who's going to have a monster year. That's going to be Cam Jones, the lefty from Marquette. Scores the ball, gets downhill. He's a dog. I love this guy's game. Kind of a throwback in a way at times. Huge year. Could win Big East Player of the Year. So I love Cam Jones with the Marquette Eagles, and he's going to take a bigger role with Kolek out. Did so when Kolek got hurt this last year. So, and then number 1, man, this guy basically put Alabama on his back and got him to a Final Four. Mark Sears, my top combo scoring guard. This guy can flat out make shots, make hard shots, lefty, scores off ball screens, handoffs, buckets. That's the best way to describe buckets. So, love Mark Sears coming back next year with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Big reason why they're going to be a top 3, top 5 team next year. So, love Mark Sears. Real quick, one more time to get us paid. We're brought to you by Rhythm, and no, we do not have props out for college basketball. When we do get there, you're going to want to get over to Rhythm because they got these scientific data breakdown analytics so that you can base your decisions off of stats and trends and all historical data. Claim your 7-day free trial by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. All righty, we are back. And the most important position in college basketball, the floor. I call these guys the floor generals, the Bulldogs. Guys that run the show, run your program, an extension of the head coach. So the other guys are kind of the sexy guys. The guys that put the ball in the hoop. But these guys are the guys that run your program. So at number 10, Ace Baldwin for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Coming over from VCU last year. Mike Rhodes, this guy, he's a dog. Lefty, gets the ball downhill. Absolutely love his game. Loves his game at VCU. I think he's going to be he's going to be a big part of why I think Mike Rhodes can take a big step here in year number 2 at Penn State. Ace Baldwin is my top 10 floor general in college basketball coming back next year. At number 9, I got Elijah Hawkins, and he's not at Minnesota anymore. He's at Texas Tech. Grant McCaslin's had good history with these point guards. I like this fit a lot here with Texas Tech. I thought Hawkins was a big reason why Ben Johnson was able to make a step in year 2 to 3 at Minnesota. Good in ball screens, good defensively, runs the show. I think averaged 6-7 assists a game, good vision, gets his guys involved, and he's tough, man. He finishes through contact. So I got Hawkins as my number 9 guy. At number 8, I got Zakai Ziegler for Tennessee. He's been in big games. He's undersized a little bit, but, man, he gets shit done. Knows what Rick Barnes wants, runs the show, gets guys in positions, runs the offense, and he's really good defensively, and he's tough. I know he's battled injuries, but he's my number 8 floor general in college basketball. At number 7, I got Davion Smith. He's going to be Rick Pitino's floor general next year with the with the St. John's. Johnny's coming over from the Utah Utes. I think average 15 a game or 14, 15 a game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He stat sheet stuffer. That's a fucking tongue twister. Good good defensively, gets it downhill, had that big winner against UCLA. Rick Pitino, good fit here. I'm a big fan. So Davion Smith going over from the Utes to the Johnnies. He's my number 7 guy. At number 6, and this is where it gets good, guys, because there's some good point guards here up top. Number 6, I went Jeremy Roach. And he's played in the Final Four. That's where I'm like, man, I feel like I'm short selling him, but I like Jeremy Roach here. I think he's going to do a great job running the show for Scott Drew at Baylor, get that program back deep in the dance. He's played in big games at Duke the last couple of years. But yeah, Roach, what's not to like? He's played in big games, played for Coach K, played for John Shire. Now he's playing for Scott Drew. Makes shots, makes it, but he lets the game come to him. He doesn't force the issue. When he needs to score, he scores. That's why I call these guys floor generals. And Roach is just a big time, big game player. At number 6, number 5, I got Ryan Nembhard with the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Another guy that's played in big games, played at Creighton in a big game, played in big games with the Zags. I expect him to have a huge year next year, and continue to run that offense for Mark Few. I thought that it was a little bit of a learning curve last year. His brother played at Gonzaga too. Plays for the Pacers now, obviously a really good pro. But I like Nembhard as my number 5 kind of floor general. He's kind of was learning a little bit more to be more of a floor general these last couple of years. But I like the Zags. A lot of reason why, because of Nembhard and Ike from earlier. At number 4, I went Aiden Mahaney. And I know he's going into a new system, but I know he's going to be good. I know he's going to be good for Dan Hurley. Yeah, this guy was awesome at St. Mary's, coming off ball screens, running the show. Game never sped up too much for him. I like Mahaney, man. I think UConn fans are going to be ecstatic with this guy. And I think he's going to fit right in. I don't know if he's going to be as effective as Tristan Newton, but I think Newton was really good at the end of year 1. I expect Mahaney to be, it won't take as long as Newton. I think he's more polished than Newton. I think right around start of Big East play, Mahaney will be hitting his stride. So Mahaney's my number 4 guy. Number 3 guy, and this guy was hard to fucking rank. I'm not going to lie. Just because he played with such a dominant guy last year. I went Braden Smith at number 3. He's as good as they come, man. I could have ranked him 1, but I ended up not ranking him number 1 just because these other 2 guys are studs as well. But Braden Smith, we'll see how he is without Zach Edey. But his intangibles, you can't deny. Makes big shots, runs the show, gets everybody set up in that Matt Painter offense. Braden Smith, he's still going to be a all Big Ten guy and potential All-American next year. So he's my number 3 point guard coming back. Number 2, and this guy was banged up a lot last year. I went DeJuan Harris. as my number 2, Kansas guy. The best on-ball defender in America, in my opinion. And I think he's going to have a better and better year next year offensively when he's got shooters on the wings and they can spread you out a little bit and get Dickinson more involved down low. So I think with the additions, it's going to open things up for Harris. I talked about Dickinson at Kansas. I think Harris is as good as they come. And if you're saying you got the first pick in the draft next year and you got to win a game, Harris would probably be my second pick, but this next guy would be my first pick in the draft. And I know a lot of people don't think he's sexy, but I've seen this guy will his team to wins. They don't play a sexy brand of basketball, but we're talking Bulldogs, floor generals, toughness. Who I'm taking with the first pick? Give me Tamin Lipsey, baby, at Iowa State. Give me Lipsey at Iowa State, man. That guy is tougher than nails. Gets the ball downhill, gets his guys involved. He actually made some shots last year, but just his intangibles on the defensive end, his toughness. Whenever Iowa State needed a big play last year, Lipsey was right there to make the play. He's my top floor general, and he's a reflection of TJ Otzelberger. So Tamin Lipsey, my top floor general, top point guard in America headed into next year for his intangibles. And just year number 3 in that system. So just gave you guys a lot. Like I said, I named off 40 guys. I'm sure I left off 40, 50, 60 really fucking good basketball players. So, leave your comments. Call me an idiot. I don't give a shit. Give me some feedback because I'm sure I want to know who I left off because, like I said, I gave out 40. I got a list of 15, 20, 30 kids right here that I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm leaving them off, but I got to get it down to top 10 at each spot. So leave them in the chat, leave them in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe. We're going to be giving you guys content all summer long over here at the College Basketball Experience. The draft's in the book, the portal's in the book. We can start looking ahead to next year. It's going to be a great college basketball year. But I'll tell you what else is going to be a good year. College football. Go check out all 134 college football previews with Colby, Nick, Patty C, and all those guys. And go check out the College Baseball Experience with Noah Beanick. He's breaking it down. The coaching search now. He brought us through Omaha. We got there, and it was a college baseball as exciting as popular as I can ever remember. Noah Beanick is at the top of that industry, breaking shit down over there. So make sure you check out all our channels. Go check out the Big 12. Hey, there's some Big 12 names on this list. So, David, I know you're fired up for Arizona coming into the Big 12. The schedule just got released today. We'll do a schedule reaction. But yeah, can't wait, man. The season, November 4th, will be here sooner rather than later. And like I said, we're going to get some more guests. We're going to continue our coaches tour. And we will start with those previews here soon. Like I said, man, it'll be here before we know it. Thank you guys for rocking with me on a beautiful Thursday summer night, June the 27th. Mac tonight signing off over at the College Basketball Experience. You better start thinking about yours, and we are out of here.